Hello, welcome. This is the Qatar Grand Prix. It's our second trip to the Middle East. Obviously, last week we had Jeddah. Now we've just hopped just slightly over the border to Qatar, to one of the greatest MotoGP tracks, and it's decent for F1. It's not the best. It's not the worst, but. This is what now? Race 5 or is this race 6? I can't quite remember. I have a feeling it's race 6. Nope, it is race 5. It is in fact race 5 still. Obviously, Qatar is a very, very high downforce track. There is not much braking, not much time for you to gain fuel, ERS, or anything.
It's a very fast, very flowing track.
Yes, makes overtaking almost an impossibility anywhere but the main straight. And if you're caught in a DRS train, well, good luck to you.
The main concerns that I may have are both tire wear and especially fuel.
Yes, fuel usage here is extremely high, and the game isn't the nicest with calculating it on this one. So if somebody isn't aware of how much fuel to have, you may have some awkward moments near the end of the race where they realize they're a lap down on fuel, which is never something you want to see happen. Of course, once again, quali is extremely important here, but unlike Jeddah previously, where track position is the safest place to be, this is more just a case of not wanting to spend too much time trying to overtake those nearer the back. The first laps are now starting. Random does start his first lap. He's saying that he'll be the first one to set a proper lap now. The Alpine driver still trying to chase his first points. It could very well happen. I mean, I think this was the first time Avo got points a couple seasons ago, was at Qatar. So anything can be thrown up here. With the tyre wear, it could just take a little bit of a mistake from those near the top, and you could see yourself sneaking in a 9th or a 10th place. By just keeping your tires with rubber, really.
Capitalize on those who've made a bit of an error regarding fuel.
Exactly. I can imagine a few people will be fuel saving, maybe hoping for an early safety car, but I'm unsure about a safety car chance around this track. Well, the FRL only had one safety car this season, and that was last race in Jeddah after that lap 1 incident with Skyler and Tynes. So the first benchmark comes around a 1:24.6. That is a very respectable time. I believe next will be Laz, who will be coming around the line next. We'll have to see where Random stacks up. Ooh, was that off the track? I was not sure if he was on the track there. Let's see, what time does he set? A 1:23.7. That's a really strong time. Trying to see what everybody else can do. I believe supposed to be going on for another lap. It must be, I think it's now Avo, these free cars coming up now. Avo a 1:22.8. That's a really strong time from the Aston Martin driver. Would like to see, Morgan only 0.3 faster, which I think that even shows how much pace Avo has here, or maybe how close it's going to be.
Especially close without factoring in Corvex.
Yes, and you see Skyler now come across the line at 123.2. I think Tyres will be the next one over the line. And he's coming through the triple right-hander now. Really, really fun section to drive, but
he's invalidated.
Maybe not. Oh, yeah, I was about to say it's maybe not so big an issue on softer tires, but when those tires start to wear and when you're trying to look for every little inch, you have a very easy chance of just running wide there. The understeer can catch you out, and well, the track limits will be violated in that scenario. Then he comes along with a 121.6, about 9/10 faster than the previous provisional pole, which was Morgan. Still a pretty decent time, though.
Guys are currently set upon Corvex at the moment.
Yes, he's coming around the line now. What will it be? A 120.9. Straight into the 120s. 6/10 faster than both Lenny and Circle. And now the only people who can answer back now would be Drew, who is currently on his outlap. And maybe Sparrow can put something to her teammate. Maybe a time that can perhaps at least give a Ferrari 1-2.
Just at least put Ferrari up there to not trouble their very clear number one.
I don't think we've seen a 1-2 on the grid in such a long time in FRL. I think it's been over a season now.
Come to think of it. But we have technical difficulties now.
Yep. Let's see what's going on with this. It seems that the host's lobby crashed. Or the host's game crashed entirely. I'm unsure if we're going to be able to continue this session.
This radiator.
Somebody is still on the track. I don't know how, but
evident.
Oh, that was Avo. It's on the track, and that has been a reset. Right, I think this is going to be remade.
Yeah. This is evidently a red flag situation going on.
Yeah, so we will have to cut to commercial while we sort out our technical issues here.
Mm-hmm. Fairly close. You're gonna have to long get used to this technical difficulty screen. And out there not. You now have a signal.
Are we back?
Soon be back.
All right.
Again, we apologize for any of the technical difficulties that resulted.
Yeah, would not be an EA sponsored game without a few technical difficulties along the way.
Master specifically.
Well, I'm not sure. Have you ever seen us trying to do anything with a FIFA league? It's not much better.
For now, everything starts right back to 0.
Yes, right back to square one. No times, but yet still the same drivers, hopefully.
Well,
I think we are down one of the Ferraris. I mean, they're having some technical issues getting onto the thing.
Unfortunate technical glitch that befell the Ferrari Sparrow.
Yes, there's been a few game crashes actually today. We've had a couple from Corvix previously previously noted today. Obviously, that one just then from Lenny. But one thing now is that everyone's coming out the pits quickly now. Obviously, Random's once again leading the train with, I think that's going to be Avo right behind him. Then behind him again is Sergel in the Haas. Morgan in the orange McLaren, or the papaya McLaren, apologies, the same colour really. No Mateus this weekend actually, which is sad to see after what could have been at Jeddah really for him. Could have been for the entire McLaren team really for Jeddah in its entirety. I expect the time to be coming in thick and fast once we get off of the laps and start doing the full-on push laps.
This is now or never.
Yes, if a situation arises where we do have to restart the lobby again, these times will count. And anyone that doesn't get a timeout will have to, start from the back of the grid, I'd imagine. I'm unsure what the rules would be, but I imagine it'd be something similar to that. As let's see, Random, he's doing obviously the first timed lap of the session. He does enjoy getting out there as quickly as possible. I've noticed that from him. He's the first one out on the track every single time. The track is normally clear at that point. I think the only car ahead of him is the Red Bull of Lenny, but he's another 5 or 6, not 5 or 6, like 2 or 3 seconds up the track, and I don't think he will be bothering him at any point during this run.
It's not yet.
Yes, not yet, and I can't imagine that it will. I think almost everybody's out on the track right now, bar Corvix, Drew, and Kimaru, who are all still in the pits. And as I say that, Corvix is now coming out of the pits now, so it will just be the Haas of Drew and the Sauber of Kimaru left in the pit lane. As Random comes across the triple right-hand, stays way within track limits. Want to make sure that you definitely do that here. He darts out the way into the last corner. Oh, I don't think that's counting. Yeah, he fully invalidates that.
Just on the last second of it.
On the last corner, which does leave Avo to be the benchmark time of a 123.4. Be quickly beaten by Sergo of a 122.4. And Morgan behind a 122.6, which is a very good time set by her as well. Ties comes along a 124.4. And John jumps up to second with another 122.4. Looking for the last LP, which is Laz, a 123.8. Obviously, some of you guys had faster times on the first run, so I'd imagine that there's still quite a lot of time for most of these to gain. Nikki does a 144. I must have been a mistake, or like maybe a second preparation lap there. That obviously is not representative of what they can do. As Lenny then sets the benchmark at 121.5. Another strong lap from the Red Bull driver. Now it's going to wait for Corvex's response to it. Last time out, he was a 120.9. Do you think he'll be beating that this time?
Well, the answer's obvious. Yes, he will.
They're absolutely on rails as he comes through Sector 3. Sector 3, which is mostly flat out, bar the last corner, which is the only braking point in the entirety of that sector. He does come across the line now. It's a 121 flat. It's 5 tenths faster than Lenny, and it's still just free purple. It's what you'd expect from him at this point.
Random, who's seeking redemption after this his first hot lap near miss.
Yes, he does come up to some traffic in front of him, which will be both Glazzy and Kimaru, who are both on their outlaps, on their first outlaps actually so far. So I imagine they won't make it difficult for Random to get by once he does catch up to the both of them.
Out of the corner of my eye, I see both Hasses out, especially Drew, who has a habit of coming out very, very late in quality sessions.
Yes, he does seem to be enjoying the... Maybe he likes to save his tyres, save the tyres for the race. The soft tyre is quite a good race tyre here. As much as it likes to disintegrate very quickly, it is a good race tyre. It is fast throughout the stint. It does wear very quickly, and so those who cannot control it will struggle here. I'm not sure if... I think Random will be fine. I don't think Kimaru... Oh, that was a snap on the exit there of... Was that turn 15? He comes along down the back straight. There's a little bit of a toe. Open the DRS, those are 125.3. I still know he can do faster than that. I think he set like a 124 previously, so I'm sure we'll see a better time from him soon. But let's now follow both Glazzy and Kimaru as they now do their first push laps. I imagine these two will get very similar laps, actually. I imagine they'll be quite close together. Should wait for... is that Nikki in the Toro Rosso V-car, whatever it's called?
It is. You keep moving right out of the way from your V-car.
as he does seem to be setting some pretty good times so far. I will imagine I can expect him to be roughly. I'd imagine he'd be splitting Morgan and Styler there in P5, P6, maybe even slipping ahead of her provisionally on this lap.
As he puts up his best sector 2 so far.
Well, it's only sector 2 so far. Keeps it within the track limits on the last corner. He crumbs across the line. P6, 122.8, and Kimaru a 123.5.
Now our focus on the last person who's setting a fast lap.
Yes, Drew, who does like to set his laps very, very late on into the session. Honestly, I do like doing that as well. Obviously, you want to keep as many tires as you can and want to keep as clean of a track as possible. Drew will come across the line here to get a 121.9, which is still a good lap. Well,
immediately,
maybe not. Maybe not with Sergel right behind him, going 3 tenths faster for a 121.6.
And perhaps perhaps this is strategic of Drew. The track would already be rubbered in by the time he goes out.
Yes, that is normally the best strategy for that. Now, I wonder if he can answer back to his teammate Sergel. I mean, he did actually get out-qualified by Sergel last time in Jeddah. Obviously, ended up finishing ahead of him on the race due to that lap 4 collision with Pixie, Nexi, Mateus, and Morgan, which resulted in just damage and calamity. Luckily, this time there are no walls by the track to make that happen, so it'll be interesting to see what team games will happen there at Haas.
As we say that, Nikki sets a 124.4.
So, representative lap time for them. Do you see Lenny currently going through Sector 3 right now? He did allegedly set a purple Sector 2, and he runs wide onto the exit of the triple chicane. The triple right-hander.
His right-hander.
I'm unsure what time that was going to be. Was that going to be fast? It was alright.
I'm probably sure it'd be a hair closer to what Corvix could do.
It was about a couple tenths closer to him. It was a couple tenths faster, it looked like. That's the whole issue. That's the whole issue with Sector 3 on this track. It is fine margins.
Too fine. Okay.
I see. It looks like the Ferrari have been able to get the second car back up and running. We might be able to see Sparrow set in a lap nearer the end of the qualifying session. Hopefully.
One and only.
She can get up there. Yeah, it'll be a one shot, one opportunity as Corvix sets just 2 tenths faster. He decided to go 120.8.
This is Corvix. What else would we expect out of him?
Exactly, but I will say one thing though, is that Qatar does have very, very strong slipstream. Even throughout the rest of the track without DRS, the slipstream here is a very, very strong. And so, with that, it could mean that Lenny, Sergel, and Drew can keep up with Corvix at least for the beginning of the race. depending on what tyre Corvix does start on. I do see there's an Aston Martin that's just stopped
It's Avery.
in the middle of Sector 2. It is Avo! Is there any damage on that car? I do not
Doesn't
see
look
anything.
like it. I surmise he must have spun out somewhere in Sector 2.
Yeah, I don't think he tapped the wall. Yeah, no, his front wing looks good. I think he just spun it on the exit of what's that? I'm unsure what turn that is. These turns don't have names. Honestly, I feel like we should just start naming the corners as they go on here. Just give the corners names. The corners deserve names. Every corner deserves a name, except for turn 2 at Austria.
But that's only a luxury the older circuits have.
I mean, this circuit has been going along for quite some time now, since what? I don't know. I remember this being the MotoGP opener, and since I started watching it, it can't be that young a track.
Compared to most tracks on the Formula 1 calendar.
I mean, yeah, compared to that, yes. Let me see. When was it? It was first made in 2003, which, obviously, compared to tracks like Spa and Silverstone, is relatively young and new, but I mean, you can still always, comparing it to other tracks we've had recently, like Jeddah or Miami, even tracks that are a bit less, even tracks that aren't street circuits that we're going to that are brand new. I mean, I know there's going to be one in, is it Riyadh, where it's going to, Kedah, I think, is going to be the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix.
Yeah, Kedah.
Yeah. Sparrow has managed to get out for an out lap, and she will be able to do a singular lap in quali here. Let's see what she can do. She'll have one chance to try to start anywhere better than, well, last place on the grid, and
one and only chance.
Yes, I imagine she will want to play safe here, drive as safe as she can, really, while still being fast, because even starting P8, P9 is better than starting P15, even if it's not fully representative of what she can do. She does start her flying lap. Does not get a toe. I would have thought Corvix would have maybe tried to give her a bit of toe down the front straight. His pole is pretty much a given at this point.
Comfortably at the top.
Riding on board. She does go quite quick into Sector 1. She is roughly only a 10th down on Corvix's time through Sector 1. And is actually up on Lenny through Sector 1 at the moment. Coming through to the Sector 2 line. What does she do? Bit slower, a bit more sluggish there. Can she get a good Sector 3 to round it out? It will be massive for Ferrari if she can maybe snag it onto the second row of the grid. Coming down to the line. It's P10. After such a strong Sector 1. It seemed to have just all fallen away in Sector 2. Sector 2 and Sector 3 all undid all of her hard work there. At least it looks like that way.
This sort of track, well, any track, you really can't be too conservative hot laps.
Exactly. As we see, Sergel sets a 121.5, which is really close to Lenny, who will be trying to do another lap here. Coming along to the last corner. Run to the line. We'll see Corvix dive into the pits. He's not setting another lap time. Don't think he needs to. And he comes along the line. A 121.1. Now, that isn't that far off from Corvix now. That's only 3/10 away. And in a race stint, that is nothing. We could be on to a race here. See Sparrow peeling off into the pits. Nicky and Random. Random is going slow into sector 3. Nicky tries to run to the line. Does not go faster.
That will pretty much be our grid for the race.
Yes, Corvix will start on pole. His streak of pole positions continues. Will can this man be stopped? Answer's just probably not. Lenny will complete the first row of the grid. It's a fairly long run into turn 1, so you can expect Lenny to maybe have a go at him into turn 1. You can't rule out Sergel or Drew, the all-Haas second row of the grid, who, with the slipstream, can pull in and cause some issues for the front guys. With a Mercedes-powered third row with John and Glazzy, who is in the Williams. Morgan, teammateless this race in P7, really close to beating Glazzy's time. I think Glazzy actually just pipped her on the last lap there. Kimaru in 8th for the Sauber. Still a pretty good showing from him. And then, of course, the all Aston Martin 910 of Skylar and Avo. I am going to refrain from saying anything positive about this after what I did last time to poor Skylar, so we'll move on to the other positions where we have Laz and Sparrow in P11 and P12, Ties and Nicky in P13, P14, and rounding up the rear of the grid will be Random in the Alpine. Corvix actually setting the fastest, almost all 3 fastest sectors. That's honestly not a surprise to anybody. There's a few faster sectors here and there, like Lenny I think got a slightly faster sector 1, but I think that was it in terms of the best lap time possible here today. Now, in terms of tyre options for this race, the hard tyres will last, but the hard tyres are extremely slow, and I'd imagine they'd only be done in a early safety car scenario. The softs do die quite quickly, but they are extremely fast here, and although it was a couple seasons ago, I did manage to make a soft to medium work with tyres that pretty much weren't even tyres by the end of the race, so it's still possible to do a soft to medium. I imagine that's what most of the top runners will be trying to do.
And I would very much still recommend the medium hard strategy for everyone else below the front runners.
Yes, maybe a soft to hard if you're really feeling adventurous, but I think you want to minimize as much time as you can get on those hard tyres, because those hard tyres, they just feel awful to drive, they are.
This race, and I will say it once again for the millionth time, fuel.
Yes.
Your eternal enemy.
I have a feeling everyone would have had a briefing about the fuel at this point.
And since we especially know, fuel was very much an issue when Losail appeared on the calendar 2 or so seasons prior.
I've heard that it's only gotten worse in this scenario since.
In these whole new regulations.
I would like to... Morgan in P7, I think she might be able to get a good start, but she is currently debating on the hard tires to start off with. But she might be shooting herself in the foot there by going for that. You don't really want to run long here. It's quite easier to be on the mediums, but
we are racing.
Go out. We are racing. I think almost everybody opted for the medium tires, except for those two at the front. The two Hasses do swap positions near the beginning, and we see a bit of a incident behind. Morgan gets sideways with, I think, the Mercedes of John. Sparrow makes her way up into 10th. And Skyler goes up into 8th, so having a few more corners than last time for the Canadian. Yep, almost everybody on that medium tyre, except for Morgan and Kimaro. If they can hold it out on the early few laps, they might have a good shot here at keeping those tyres within temperature and within grip of the track, which is a huge issue with this track. Is just the tyre wear is awful, the fuel usage is even worse. As we do see Lenny and Corvix trying to now bridge a gap to Drew. Obviously, when we've only one lap before DRS is activated. You will have to do 2 laps before you really get a taste of it, though, as the only DRS zone is this start-finish straight. So Skyler is right on the back of Morgan. Is he going to try for a move? Morgan goes defensive along the inside. Skyler thinks better of it for now. Possibly cutting back on a second? No, it's happy to stick behind Morgan. Morgan will not have DRS for the second lap here. That should be a pretty simple overtake for him once we get there. As Sparrow makes a move into turn 4. What a move that was. Laz runs wide behind. Avro tries to get the door open right behind him, but just not open enough. Sparrow's making a quick charge up the field here. Morgan is now kind of like a bit of a heading a bit of a train here now. Obviously, her hard tyres are going to be significantly slower than those behind her, especially now Skylar and Sparrow, who Sparrow will not want to be stuck behind these two for very long. She does have a race, and
he is looking
into the double right-hander. She is looking. She is racing. She has pushed Skylar out of DRS range. She is going to make a move into the last corner. Ooh, that's...
There might have been some contact.
Cavo has spun it behind him. Cavo has been hit behind. Been knocked down to P13 from that. He had such a good opener to the race as well, as both Kimaro also gets by on Skylar. Some contact between Laz as well. I think that was a front wing going. I'm not sure whose front wing that was that got dislodged. I think that was Laz. I think that's a bit of an end plate. Let me have a closer look. Yes, Laz is missing the front right end plate of that Alpine. Let's try. Sparrow's going to try everything she can to get back into DRS range of Morgan. I do see a 3-second time penalty, but with that fight with Skylar, I can imagine that they're not all going to stand, and she is still effectively fighting for position here. We might see a lot of track limit warnings, especially throughout the tires start to wear and Sector 3 becomes more and more of a nightmare for these drivers.
If you thought the old Österreich ring was bad with track limits, then take a look at this.
Yes, this is going to be a completely different beast in terms of track limits, as our catch is well up within Morgan's DRS now. Next lap, she will have DRS on Morgan. Kimaru is unable to keep up. So that is also going to bring Skylar back into 9th if he can make that move. I imagine he will wait it out as expected here until the start-finish straight, unless Kimaru is goaded into a mistake. I have to keep an eye on Sparrow at the moment. I don't think not much is happening near the front. I would like to see. I can imagine it'll be quite easy, quick work for her. Skylar is right behind Kimaru. That could be. Skylar might go for a dive up into the last corner. He definitely has the overspeed on Kimaru right now. The pace difference is there. It's the medium and hard tires really is where you really see the difference in them in these first few laps. Skylar does get a little bit swirly on the exit, but he's already alongside. He's already ahead before the DRS zone. He makes the move stick. I think Nicky's going to get past Kimaru here. Nicky's going to go through both of them? He's going to go for both of them? No. Runs it deep into turn 1. That will give Kimaru a chance to take the position back if he runs all the way around the outside. No, he decides against it for now. And now Skylar can try to chase down Sparrow and Morgan. Sparrow has not been able to get by Morgan just yet. I would have thought that she would have been able to at last lap. But maybe it was a pretty strong exit by Morgan. Maybe quite a different wing setup as well. Maybe those medium tires are already starting to feel the burn from the track.
These medium tires wear out frighteningly fast on any track, any given track.
Yes, and a track like Qatar, where the tires already die quickly, this is just a recipe for disaster for anybody who isn't going to be able to manage them or deal with the tire wear as it goes on.
Whereas we see Sparrow sticking a move on Morgan.
Yeah, I mean, that was already a couple laps in the making. Morgan with some pretty late braking there. I actually thought she was going to run in the back of Sparrow for a second, but it's a pretty simple overtake for Sparrow, and I imagine she'll be able to pull away from Morgan and put Morgan into the clutches of the Canadian behind her.
If the Black and Papaya McLaren-Mercedes isn't already this close to Sparrow's gearbox.
Yes, she's actually being able to hold on to Sparrow pretty well here. I mean, the slipstream effect around this track is quite strong, even outside of the DRS and outside the straights. You do gain a lot of time in this game just by being in a slipstream here, as we can see that by Skylar not really being able to catch up now that Sparrow's the one leading the two of them. And even though Sparrow is clearly the faster of the two drivers, maybe that's the tyres really kicking in here, but Morgan isn't dropping back at all, and I can imagine that she'd be able to make a move onto Sparrow here.
There was slight mistake on that left kink sector dream may have compromised that attempt a slight bit.
Possibly. She will look to the outside, but no move will be attempted there. Further up the pack, we do see Drew, who has been dropped by his teammate Circle in P4, fighting with Glazzy, who I think is looking for his best result this season. I think his best result so far is a 6th place. Let me fact check that real quick for you. Glazzy's best... No, I don't think Glazzy's best race is actually a 9th. So he's already outperforming what his best previously was, but any position gained is always a dream. Sergal currently in P3, a pretty lonely P3 for him right now. Oh, am I getting some internet issues? Oh, okay. One minute, I'm stuck in another screen right now. You're gonna have to re-invite me to the lobby in a second. So with ties as well, who will need to be re-invited to the lobby after some other technical issues with this game. Yep, I just load in. Pritus, do you have ties added to re-invite?
I do.
Alright. For God's sake, this game.
back online, or is the game still doing funny things?
Okay, I'm finally back into the game. I will need
Great.
another invite shop across.
While,
Okay.
yep, while you were gone, Drew made his first pit stop. Or his freeing
Well,
Glasby.
that's an early pit stop, but he will try to get the undercut here.
Yep. And meantime, Morgan re-overtook Sparrow.
That is quite the surprise. I guess that means that the hard tires are now coming into their own. Let me have a look at the things. As Corvix now does pit from the lead, I come back just in time to see that. Let me get my track map on. He should be fine. I think he might come out. Yeah, he'll come out, I think, just behind a John. Actually, he may not behind Morgan at this rate. I think. Yeah, I think he might have timed this wrong. I think he's coming out right behind Morgan. That'll be quite some traffic for him to try to get past, as Morgan is on the hard tires, so he'll have to try to get past her as quickly as possible.
Could be one of those. Yep, could be one of those rare missteps strategically.
Could be a massive misplay strategically, or it could be huge, as the undercut here could absolutely dismantle any fight that Lenny was putting up to him. Of course, the one thing that Drew has to worry about here is that he's going to come up to Kimaru and Nikki, who are currently fighting for I think that's now P8 or no, P9, P10. Oh, no, Nikki is spun. I unfortunately have just seen that spin happen. I'm not sure if there was contact there or not. But you see Glazzy caught behind Avo right now. Obviously, they're fighting for position, but Avo is on wins and the position is given up quite easily for Glazzy to get through. And what's happened here? Have I gone?
It's kicked you. Yeah, again.
Yep. What a surprise. I mean, the first one wasn't the game kicking me, it was me being stuck on the menu screen.
Lenny, Chance, Sculler, and where's Nikki have major pit stops.
Yes, I'm not sure what happened with Nikki there. I hope it wasn't any contact. It was just a spin coming out there. I mean, it does happen fairly regularly there. You can overextend the throttle.
There's not this neck who's giving himself a lot of trouble. Needs to be run. So, apparently, Quirk's strategy call was indeed on the money.
Yes, the undercut this season has been one of the strongest it's ever been. Which, it has its merits.
We thought it was a mistake, but Orbix is more than happy to prove us wrong.
Yes, and of course, Lenny not having any sort of slipstream now might find it difficult to keep up with Corvex. There's not much of a tyre difference here, so I think it'll be very difficult for him to make any inroads onto Corvex now.
Jesus.
I believe we just need the two hard tire starters of Morgan and Kimaru to pit. Right now, Kimaru would obviously come out behind Avo, and I think they'd be come out behind Avo, and Morgan would be coming out roughly, I think, behind Sparrow, maybe behind Skylar, depending on that hard tire, as we do see Drew and Glazzy both get time penalties there. Let's see, yep, it's just 3 seconds for each as Glazzy makes a move into the last corner on Kimaru. Does still have DRS as well, so there's not much chance for Kimaru to take that position back. I imagine Glazzy, unlike previously, the tyre wear difference here is going to be massive, and honestly, I can't see Kimaru being able to hold up, and as I say that, he's already over a second back from Glazzy, so that does go for that.
Meanwhile, Ellerhast has picked up a 3-second time penalty.
Yes, the battle for P3 between the two teammates. Now, nobody wants to see your two teammates battling for position, but when it's for a podium, you kind of know that they're going to fight everything for it.
Yep.
Especially when there isn't really much of a chance of them catching 1 and 2, and Glazzy is another 3 seconds behind. I mean, they do have to worry a little bit about Glazzy. Maybe if they fight too hard, one like spinning each other may obviously cause some massive issues between them, but I still can't see them really losing this 3-4, so they're just going to be fighting each other for that.
The question is, and as I wanted to say that Kimaru dives into the pits.
Yes, he does. He does go into the pits. He is gonna. I don't think he is emerging behind Avo. I think it will just be between Avo and Skylar for.
And he's changing his front wing.
Oh, maybe there was some damage involved. Maybe there's a bit of contact with Glazzy or something we did not see.
Well, as I wanted to say before I got sidetracked, do Haas want to either let Razor and Drew race or pull team orders and prioritize the championship?
I honestly believe that they would just let them race here. I can't see any reason for them to hold position. It will really annoy either driver if one has to give up their chance, and I can't really see that one going down that well in any briefing. We do see further down the back, Kimaru did actually come out behind Nikki due to that front wing change. I think he will try to make a move here on him. He's on these fresh medium tires compared to the older hards. You can imagine to see him make a move soon. He will try to charge up through the grid. Yeah, gets on the throttle, gets past in the triple right-hander, or just before the triple right-hander even. And now it's a 4-second run-up to Avo in front. Morgan, though, is still out on that hard tyre. She is bleeding lap time to Drew and Sergel in 4-5. You can only imagine it's the rest.
But Laz has picked up a 10-second time penalty
For speeding in the pit lane. He is 28 seconds ahead of his teammate in 14th. I can't imagine that 10 seconds will be a massive hindrance to him. or his position after he comes in 13th, comes in the pits in 13th place anyway. Morgan's losing a second a lap. She has to pit now. If she doesn't pit here, I'd be very surprised. But she doesn't. She
continues on.
Is she going hard soft? Is she foregoing the medium tire and trying to do a hard soft? I commend the idea, but I don't think it's going to work out.
She's
going to lose.
It's daring.
It's a daring move, and she's going to lose another second to everybody, and she's going to end up behind Skylar, who hasn't got any time penalties. I mean, Morgan doesn't either, but
this is
for either of them.
Yeah, but this isn't good. McLaren may have committed a blunder.
Yeah, I mean, those soft tires will be quick, and it will allow her to perhaps steal fastest lap from Corvix. It might be able to get her by Skylar, but
But at what cost?
I don't know if she will be able to get by Skylar. I mean, at the moment, she is what? She is 23 seconds ahead of Skylar, which doesn't seem all that bad, but
at the moment, but every lap that she stays out will be a good second and a bit wasted. Yeah, which allows the Canadian to make some tiny inroads.
Yes, and even more so for if she even wants to go and continue that fight with Sparrow that she was having in the first stint. Yeah, because the two Haas drivers are now almost onto the back of her.
Oh.
They've caught up 6 seconds in 2 laps. That sort of gain is insane to think about with how much time that is. I mean, I'd expect Sergel to even have DRS off the back of her by the end of this lap.
Taking into account the tire wear of that McLaren-Mercedes.
Yeah, those tires must be absolutely screaming for a break now. We've got to remember, like, that front left must be on 70-80% tire wear. There can't be much rubber left on that tire. She's not even running around on a piece of metal at this point to be sparking along the ground. Sokol does try everything in his power to be within the DRS range. I don't think he is. No, he wasn't, as Morgan does dart into the pit lane.
Free both Haas drivers.
And gets a 10-second time penalty for her troubles.
No.
Oh, that is rough. If it hasn't gone already bad for her, that is absolutely
gone worse.
Scuffered her chance here, as I think she might end up ahead of Skylar, but I'm unsure how far ahead. No, I think she's coming out just ahead of Skylar here. Ahead.
Just barely ahead of the Aston Martin.
But now the question isn't if she can get past Skylar and then
it's
Sparrow.
If she can stay ahead.
It's now that 10 second of time penalty she now has to make up on the Canadian, and then anybody else she wants to overtake. I mean, you see that currently with... So she has to get past Sparrow and gain 4 seconds under Sparrow, which on tires like this is very doable. But that's still 6 seconds to gain.
Yeah.
That's about 0.8 a lap.
Yep, and with all the laps ticking down.
The laps ticking down, or on... She would have, I think, 9 laps to make up 6 seconds, and 9 laps to make up 9 seconds to Skylar, so...
It's very much
it's doable.
Quite the ask.
It's quite the ask, and especially with how the slipstream is, and the longer she pushes, obviously nearer the end of this stint, those medium tires aren't going to be as pacey. We saw how Sparrow was unable to break away from Morgan in the first half of the of the race. Reverse may be true here. And she's making some inroads. I mean, you'd really be needing to make a second a lap here. Like, she should be making a second a lap onto Skylar and should be making about 8/10 a lap onto Sparrow. Both things are quite difficult to do. And, of course, she'll have to hope that she doesn't end up right behind Sparrow at any point for a prolonged amount of time. Because every lap she's behind Sparrow, it's a lap she isn't able to bridge a gap to her. You do see the Williams getting out of the way. It's not the conventional method, but I'm sure they appreciate the thought behind it. Of course, even if Morgan will be to get into DRS here, which he will, she also has to expect that Sparrow is going to absolutely go nail and fire to this.
And now Corvix has picked up a time penalty.
Yeah, I think almost everybody on the grid, bar Skylar and Kimaru, has picked up the time penalty. And ties, of course, yeah. As Morgan wants to go around the outside of turn 1, Sparrow shuts the door on the exit, though. That was a really good move. Really good defending from Sparrow there. Slams it on the exit, does not allow her to take all the way around. And now Morgan has to really try to be adventurous here. She will need to make a move. She'll make a dive, and she takes wing damage. She gets wing damage from that collision. I understood it. She had to have gone for that move. There was nothing that she could have done. She had to have gone for it this lap. But now this strategy, she's not going to be able to make it up to Sparrow. She's going to be struggling to make it to Skylar. And all of this has now brought Kimaru into the fight. I mean, he's 18 seconds down on her, but there you go. Front wing.
And picks up another time penalty for troubles. It's only 2 or 3 seconds down from Kimaru now, who very much will be looking to hunt for that 9th place. Just like last week, the Pi Squadron's night went from bad to worse. Just like that.
Except this time it was a strategy call rather than an accident or a racing incident. Wow.
Well, in before, where front wing end plate flew off the MCL 38.
Yes, so that does really put her race into question. I don't see Kimaru really making grounds though. Does Kimaru also have wing damage, or is he suffering on those medium tires as well? I think he's just struggling on those mediums. Obviously now, yeah, we can see Sparrow holding on to Morgan quite comfortably. She knows that Morgan has that time penalty, but also she needs to get 6 seconds under Skylar. I mean, whether those time penalties stand or not, right now she has to pretend that they are, and she'll need to try to get that 6-second gap to Skylar. And Morgan being ahead, obviously having that damage, she's unable to really make the corners work, and obviously you see her go wide again. You can imagine Sparrow will just make the move down to the inside. I mean, Morgan will try to hang it around the outside, really squeeze her off. She does hang it around the outside of Sparrow. I'm not sure if there was any contact there, but that just caused more issues for Sparrow's race, as her race with Skylar still is heavily heating up. Even if it's through penalties and time rather than actually on the track. Thing is here, that Sparrow also has to be wary of when Morgan will break. Obviously, Morgan is of an ailing car, and so if you misjudge her right ahead, you're going to be joining her with the broken car characteristics.
Perhaps with something even worse than a loose end plate.
Yes, a loose tire, which is, well, no, but no driver wants that one.
At that moment, Sparrow is pretty much right there on that custom-designed McLaren gearbox.
And I think we'll see a move made here. Sparrow will make the move.
As Morgan attempts to cut back.
I think she just tried to cut into the slipstream. Almost running into the back of each other there. Now Sparrow will have to spread her, spread her wings, but she's Kitsune, I guess spread her tails, try and fly away. This isn't Sonic, but it's the best I can really give. Best I can really give you. Or Morgan will.
There's more contact.
There's more contact. I don't think much was really lost, but every time that Morgan makes contact, every little wiggle of the car, it not only does it put Morgan into possible territory of Kimaro, it puts Sparrow further into Skylar's territory there. Only 4 laps to go for these guys? Yeah, like 4.5.
4 to 3, yeah. And losing ground on the Ferrari.
Yes, we see, yes, Morgan is losing ground. I imagine she'll keep DRS for this lap. Obviously, looks like Sparrow's burned most of her ERS trying to get away. Obviously, Morgan being able to claw that all the way back on the straight, down to 4 attempts, but now she'll have to go around the circuit with that ailing McLaren. Obviously, the tire difference here is also helping Morgan keep with Sparrow. That those medium tires, although by now not as fresh, would still be better than those hard tires who've been doing. They've been doing what? 14 laps now, which is doable. But we saw how slow Morgan was after those many laps. I'd imagine it's just the reverse. It's true here, even with the end plate gone from that to McLaren. But as we look at the 2 Haas drivers again now, they are close up. I think Surgor might have made a mistake. Drew got by, but now he's right back onto the back of him. He looked for a move yet? Not yet, but I would like to keep an eye on these 2 as well. I am not convinced that there won't be an accident with these 2, or at least a move being made, as Surgor, I think, will have every reason to want to go for that podium. Do see on our timing tower that Morgan has gone right back past Sparrow. Skylar is dropping off from the both of them, but
Look, there's the yellow flag. Surgor has spun off.
Surgor has spun off again,
which pretty much means the podium is pretty much handed right to Drew on a silver horse-shaped platter.
Silver, white, black, and red platter. Yeah, I got nothing for this.
Yeah.
Which means we can really solely focus on this battle for on track 7th. It's more harder to really call what this fight is even for, but it's for on track. It's on the track. Sparrow wanting to keep her 8th place or her 7th place here.
which
Well,
I'll think it'll be guaranteed because of that 10-second time penalty.
it's more behind her is Skylar, who is
Yeah.
4 or 5 seconds behind. Obviously, they're going up to the penultimate lap now. She'll have 1 lap to try and get as much as she can out of these tires. Morgan will be unable to stop her here from getting past. Skylar is 5.5 seconds back. 5.2, 5.5, roughly that. It will be close. It will be close between the two of them.
Still, definitely some mixed messages for Haas's new technical partner that they've signed up recently.
Yeah, I mean, a P3 and a P4 is definitely what you want to see, though, but keeping just an eye on this fight between Morgan and Sparrow. I mean, Morgan is all over the track on her damaged McLaren. Those medium tires are now going to start to drop as they go on to the last lap. It's all about, can she ruin the Ferrari's day? I mean, they are still battling a constructors fight. Any point that she can take away from that, from the red team, from the red Ferraris, will be huge, as maybe she'll even try to back her up into Skylar. I mean, it would be rude, it would be aggressive, but
Yeah, but speaking of the
it
red
could be what
Ferraris,
happened.
speaking of red Ferraris, Corvix wins the Qatari Grand Prix.
Comfortable victory for him, with Lenny coming home in second on his return. Obviously, he missed the last Grand Prix out in Jeddah.
Now we will wait for Drew and the Haas Ferrari to round out the podium.
Yes. For a while, I thought Sergio was going to do it, but obviously a couple of spins here and there have led Drew to get the podium and Sergio to be P4. Glazzy does finish off the race in P5, his best performance of the season so far. John will be finishing up in P6, and then let's cut back to this. Yes, Morgan will obviously take P7 on the road. That'll be moved down 2 positions, Sparrow up to P7, but then Skylar should then come across P7.
Yes.
Yep. Skylar P7, Sparrow P8, Morgan P9. And I have a feeling that Kimaru was just too far away to catch up to her. Yes.
Yeah, barely clinging on to those points. It was a tough night for the McLaren pit wall, and words will definitely be had.
Yes, I'm sure there'll be some choice strategy, choice words to say about the strategy call there. Sparrow, though, having a great race to recover from a rough qualifying, a rough technical issues. Skylar having a brilliant race, finishing up in P7 before any penalties have been applied or rid of. Glazzy, of course, with his best race of the season, scoring some good points for that Williams team. And Kimaru once again proving that Sauber can score points. Just
not
real
in real life.
Yeah.
This Sauber C44 is actually a semi-decent car.
It is a car. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. And not a bucket of bolts.
But this has been the Qatar Grand Prix in FRL Season 5. I have been Sierra. With me, my streamer and co-host Pridus. We'll catch you on the next race, which will be in 2 weeks' time. We're taking a 1-week break. Be on October the 26th in Canada. Will Skyler be able to keep his good qualifying streak alive? We'll have to catch you then.
Till next time.